Important in reference to history and who my parents are, and the history of my career in music or television and business and corporations. It's very important in reference to the history of people and people that have known me at my mother and father's corporations and in the entertainment industry, of course. And, in the restaurant industry, how's everybody doing? And, I worked in different jobs and stuff. But, someone might say, in reference to people that know me, people that knew my parents, people that know the history of my parents and grandparents, they're still messing with my mouth, the satellite man is. In reference to the information of who I am and who my parents are, this is very important in reference to career history. Of course, my mother and father had long lifespans. They got murdered by dirty government, and they were frozen. They got murdered at different times, too. Both times that my parents got, when my father got murdered, I was there, and I had injuries from them trying to murder my father. And my mother had been injured before by these people, and basic information of things. And in reference to when my mother got murdered, I was there, and I had injuries that time, too. So this is very important in reference to many things. And, I'm the owner of the corporations forever. So in reference to people and the history of jobs and career, where do you think I'm supposed to be at? How much do you think the government owes me in reference to my parents getting murdered by dirty government? The Supreme Court knows that they were somewhat responsible and the government was responsible for the murders of my parents. I've never been paid any of the monies from the insurance or life insurance policies of my parents or the insurance from the companies. I'm the owner forever. I'm not stepping down from being the owner, not never. That ain't never happening. I don't care who goes to prison or what person's got to go to prison. I am the owner forever. Just make sure everybody understands that forever. But, in reference to positions of companies, like what kind of job do you think I am supposed to work at? What level of a company do you think I'm supposed to be at? Where do you think I'm supposed to be? My parents was, trillionaires, basic information. And the U.S. government knows that. My parents gave me everything when I was born, when I was little too. So, in reference to my parents working underneath me as executives, and because I'm the only child of my parents, and they planned ahead. So they gave me everything early, But then my parents, they still managed and controlled, things, but I was the owner, and I'm the owner forever. So, it's important. And in reference to my grandparents' estates, I'm the owner of them, too. Somebody wants you to know that. But, in reference to the information, like, what do you think I'm supposed to be doing right now? How much money do you think I should have? What kind of credit card do you think I should have in my wallet? How much money do you think I'm supposed to have access to on a daily basis? We need people to answer these kind of questions. Even if it was just somebody, common people, business people, accountants. Because there's some accountants that know how wealthy my parents were. And, I'm the owner of the estates of my parents, of course, and grandparents. But, there's a lot of things that people need to make some videos on. Like, what do you think I should be doing right now? Somebody say, oh, you want everything handed to you on a silver platter. My parents paid for people to hand me things on a silver platter. Don't forget that. People get paid to do that. Somebody walking around with something on a silver platter and they hand it to me. People was paid to do that. And they're supposed to be paid to do that. Nobody's delivered anything to me since my parents got murdered, or since my mother got murdered over 26 years ago, and my mother was frozen. That's a long story. Basic information of things. But, in reference to, property, like what kind of car do you think I should drive? Like what kind of house do you think I'd be living in? What kind of clothes do you think I'd be wearing? Where do you think I'd be at? Who do you think I'd be hanging out with? Other celebrities, models, actresses, musical artists. This is very important. They hit me in the throat just now. But, like somebody say, okay, in reference to who he is, he's born super rich, supposed to be his mother and father's mansions, hanging out with friends, maybe going out to restaurants or hanging out, playing sports or blah blah blah, or watching movies. Kind of like, what do you think? You can list a whole bunch of things like, what do you think I should be doing? You think I should be sitting here worrying about what I'm going to do for money? Or where's my revenues from social media? Which person's stealing the postal mail? What do you think what do you think, just in general, what do you think I'd be concerned with this particular moment? And every time the government's tried to murder me, it's $85 trillion or something like that, if not more. You guys know that, right? And in reference to past lawsuits that my mother had in reference to government trying to murder me. Now, everybody knows, there's 100% proof and evidence that the government has tried to murder me. Now, guess what? What do you think I've done since before my parents got murdered? Didn't do nothing wrong then. My parents didn't do nothing wrong either. My parents got murdered by dirty government and terrorists and thieves that were trying to steal land from my parents. These people was trying to steal what my parents gave to me. Now, look, I haven't done nothing wrong at all. My parents didn't do nothing wrong at all. My parents had court cases about these people trying to steal my mother and father's estates when my parents was alive. And what have these people done in the past 40 plus years? Plus years, it's a long time. They've tried to steal everything. What else have they done? They trespassed on property. They tried to sneak into companies. They tried to fake their identities. They tried to steal positions of the executive board. But the government said they weren't trying to do that. The CIA and FBI said they weren't trying to do that. But 40 plus years later, that's what they did. In reference to my mother's companies, when my mother got murdered. I'm the owner of everything. And I didn't hire none of these fucking government people to be in the companies at all. Because I know certain guidelines of law. So, and protection and royal history of law, too. My parents didn't hire these people either. Basic information things. So these people will claim they weren't trying to hold me hostage. Been held hostage. They've been stealing every goddamn penny that anybody's ever tried to send to me in the postal mail. Interesting, isn't it? But they say they're not trying to steal. They said they weren't trying to murder me. Look how many times I've been shot at. Do you know how many bodyguards I'm supposed to have? Do you know why I'm supposed to have bodyguards? So they can deliver things to me. That's one of the reasons. So they can pick up something. Like they can be able to go to the company and the company hand them a check or a credit card, an executive credit card that I'm supposed to have, and they're supposed to deliver it to me. Nobody's delivered nothing. Now, how many bodyguards or security people work at the companies? Who are they working for? The people trying to steal the companies? Because I own the accounting department of the companies. Are there any accountants trying to steal from me? Are any of them riding around in the company limousines? Because I own those too. Oh, and somebody wants to mention, in reference to the government, the government owes me the money that they owed my father. And when the government's on television, I'm the person the government has to pay. Because I own the TV networks that some of the government people have been on. In reference to a lot of TV networks or TV channels. Interesting, isn't it? But then the government's always treated me like shit. They've always terrorized my life. Since my parents haven't been around. So they were trying to take advantage of my life. They're trying to fuck me over. They're trying to screw me over, trying to mess over my life. But they said they wouldn't do that. There's even contracts and documents that say they wouldn't have done these things. But they have. That's a violation of contracts, violation of protection laws, violation of safety. But, some of these executives are calling or government people calling the company buddy with some of the people at the company. But then they act like they don't know who I am. Now, isn't that strange? Some of these people got into the studio, so they got into the companies, and they're buddy with all the people that was trying to steal from me. Even some of them, there was restraining orders against some of these people. For the murder of my father is what some of these restraining orders were in reference to the government murdering my father. And court cases. And in reference to the abuse that men had done to my mother, or people that conspired against my mother and people that conspired against me. They said they weren't trying to steal the company. They weren't trying to play tricks. I've been held hostage in Indianapolis for over 22 years this time. Haven't received a fucking penny from anywhere. Nobody's ever delivered any monies or checks or credit cards. Not even any benefit monies. You understand that? I haven't received any lawsuit checks from any of the lawsuits in reference to the government hurting me or the government murdering my parents or anything like that. They're choking me again. I'm about to cough. They're hitting me in the throat. See it right there. See that crease? They did it right there. I'm about to cough. Hang on. They're still tickling in the throat and itching in the throat. You know that pierces the skin and it makes your throat dry. No. But anyways, you know, what kind of lifestyle you think I should be living? You know, my parents were the two richest people in America. And they got murdered by dirty government. How much do you think the government owes me? And what is the delay in reference to government not paying me? They didn't pay the lawsuits when my mother was alive. They even stole monies that, in reference to court winnings that my mother had won in reference to the government injuring my leg before. The government they tried to steal that money. I never received it. My mother had possibly a check, but there was possibly money in one of the houses that was from some of the lawsuit, but it wasn't completely paid. But then the government, they broke into the mansion and stole the monies. And they stole artwork and millions of dollars, over $300 million or something in jewelry they stole from the house or something. And they stole over $10 billion or something out of the house. And then in Hollywood, they stole over what, $80 billion or something? I'm not sure. Do you not think this is a very serious situation, Mr. Supreme Court or Treasury Department? I'm sitting here begging for my fucking money that they're stealing from me, and the Treasury doesn't know what to do. The Treasury knows how much it is. The Treasury knows how much money my parents had in vaults, too. But I've not received a penny from the Treasury yet. Strange, isn't it? And you know, these people tried to call me stupid. Just check your grade point average. Just check your intellect. I'm the owner of the companies, no matter what you think. But I'm also known as one of the smartest people in the world. What's your SAT score, government man? What did you get on the I-STEP? What kind of scores did you get on school things? You know, that's very important. How many Nobel Peace Prizes do you have? What about Olympic gold medals or sports accomplishments? Anything, government man? No matter what you got, it doesn't make you the owner of any of my mother or father's companies or my ownership of anything. I'm the owner. No matter what you do, no matter how far you swim, no matter how high you jump, no matter how fast you run or how far you run, I'm the owner. Forever. Anytime the government hurts me or tries to hurt me, it's lawsuits. It's always attempted murder, too. Especially since they've been withholding monies from previous lawsuits that I have not received nothing from. So, you know, in reference to the information, back to the point of jobs and career. Like, what do you think I should be doing? Working on movies, being in film, being in television, playing sports? Now, some of you know what kind of jobs I've been held hostage in, basically because the government's blocking me from my money. So they've tried to play this peasantry game. And these people that are doing this are not my race, they're not my religion, they don't own anything I'm the owner of, but yet banker laws are supposed to have these people arrested for stealing from me. I can't give nothing away. I'm the owner forever. I never signed, never gave, never sold, never. So in reference to the information, you know, in reference to girls that know me, people have like a lot of freedom to express certain opinions. Like, you know, in reference to a girl that might make a video saying, oh, she remembers dating me. I mean, you can get kind of provocative. Girls can say, She remember a girl might say she slept with me a lot of times, and we cuddled or laid in bed, and this is kind of like things that girls want to hear. Or somebody say what movies. Somebody communicated earlier what movies I may have directed, or what TV shows I may have directed when I was little or growing up in Hollywood, and what was my first car that my father bought for me. Even when I was little, I wasn't old enough to drive, but I had a status, but you know, a royal status to drive, anyways. But just basic information. But even when I was young, like just general information. Like what fashion designers know me? What buildings in America am I the owner of? Oh, somebody wanted to know in reference to California. Somebody had said something like the California businesses out there want to put my picture up in the business that I'm the owner of. And there's a lot of things of importance, but in reference to the cat's playing with something. But anyways, and hello Walt Disney World, and hello Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse, and hello Screen Actors Union, Directors Union, Writers Union. Very important. I'll be making another video in a minute.